Good evening, Wood County. I'm Brooke Ebersole, General Manager here at BG24 News. Every week we bring you the stories that matter most on campus, in the community, across the state, and across the nation. The Producers Panel is where we take a step back and talk about these stories in our own opinion. But these opinions do not reflect the views of the organization and do not impact the way we cover these or any other stories. Tonight we'll discuss yesterday's St. Patrick's Day festivities, then we'll take a look at a trivia game on campus inspired by a popular app, before finally discussing Hillary Clinton's latest email scandal. It's all here on your BG24 News Producers Panel. Thanks again for joining us tonight. I'm going to take a minute and introduce our panel. To my right, we have Executive Producer of BG24 News, Matt Heitkamp, and to my left, anchor and reporter for us, Nick Dombey. Thanks for being here with me tonight, guys.
It's good to be here.
No problem.
Yesterday was St. Patrick's Day, and many students around campus took to the bars pretty early. Reporter Nick Dombey went downtown to check out the morning crowd.
Monday evening, downtown Bowling Green was calm. Almost all of the bars were closed, apart from Beckett's. Locals were enjoying their dinner while workers were preparing for St. Patrick's Day. James McGee, who opted not to be on camera, said that he had been busy all day Monday getting the beer ready for the holiday. He knew that his hard work would pay off since March 17th brings a profit for Beckett's. The bar opened up at 5 a.m. for eggs and kegs, and it was busy. Nicholas was happy to explain what got him out of bed so early.
I mean, for me, St. Patrick's Day is like Irish Christmas. My family's pretty Irish, so that's why I come out at 5 a.m. just celebrate Irish Christmas.
A cheerful atmosphere was in the air, and it felt like a Friday night, despite the fact that it was Tuesday morning.
Yeah, I don't think it matters what day St. Patty's Day is on. Everybody wants to celebrate.
This morning was full of Irish spirit as people hung out with their friends and had a good time. Tori was eager to explain what made the day different for her.
Well, it's different because I get to wear this awesome hat. Look how cool this is. It dances with me on the weekends. Isn't that awesome?
This morning's Eggs and Kegs was a fun way to start out a fun day. Reporting for BG24 News, I'm Nick Dombey, and have a great St. Patrick's Day.
Well, St. Patrick's Day was certainly a big holiday here on this campus, as I know, as well as other campuses as well. I know I went out with you to film yesterday for that, what they call Kegs and Eggs at Beckett's Bar down on Main Street.
What time is that, 5:30?
6:30? Yeah.
We were
and
early.
it started at 4.
Oh,
and
4.
Yeah, it started at 4, and I took a step back, and I thought, I am not going out there to film at 4 o'clock.
Right.
They will still be there at 6.
Yeah, my alarm went off at 6. I'm just like, I'm really doing this.
Yeah.
When I got there, I mean, I don't want to sound like the innocent little freshman, but it was an eye-opening experience. It was like,
it is.
Sure.
Whoa.
Yeah, people are nuts.
Yeah.
And in such a good way, and it's a positive environment,
It can be, yeah. I mean, a lot of people go there to have fun. That's what St. Patrick's Day is sort of, about, around here. And it happens every year. And I'm sure it's a big plus for the owners of the bar, too. They had to make big profit. Did you talk to anyone about that? Or?
I did talk to one guy. His name was James at Beckett's. He wasn't able to do an interview because he was so busy setting up, but they do bring in a nice profit for him.
I'm sure they do. Open all day from like 4 until late, early this morning. Yeah, they were probably still open.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, probably until at least last call, 2:30 or 3.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and goodness, those poor bartenders,
Oh, and the bouncers and everyone, really.
Yeah. And St. Patrick's Day is fun, and it's meant to bring people together and have fun, but at the same time, St. Patrick's Day in this town brings in a lot of offenses with the law.
A lot of trouble.
Oh, yeah.
And I can remember my freshman year, they had a sobriety checkpoint set up outside my dorm. And this year, they didn't have that sobriety checkpoint set up, but there were cops everywhere.
Yeah, they even had that. I don't know if you guys saw that display in front of the Wolf Center. They had 2 cars crash together. Like it was staged on purpose, just to show, like, hey, don't drink and drive this weekend because this could happen. And yeah, because everyone thought it was an actual accident, but it looked very, very chaotic. Yeah. But yeah, it was a staged event that they put there right in front of the Wolf, just so passing students could see that.
That's powerful. That's really
that's actually a really good idea. I know there's a sorority on campus that does something like that just on a random day, but to do that on a day, where it is typical for people to think that they can drive cars when they have been drinking, which is sad, you know, because so many, AAA I know put something out there. I even know Beckett's, the bar we went to, put something out there from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. that they were like, you swallow your pride, call for a ride.
Yeah, I liked that campaign idea. It was, I thought it was really, it is a good catch to it too. It was,
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff's free too. I know during St. Patrick's Day, they'll say, hey, free rides from, you know, from morning till afternoon. And people don't always take advantage of that. But it's not just the driving too. Like, it's underages. It's open containers. I know there was quite a few. 7 underages.
4 open containers.
4 open containers. Several people also cited for fake IDs. And now even a couple of bars got in trouble for serving underage
liquor.
Which, you know.
Yeah, which even, it's the bar that is actually closest to here, the Stone's Throw, which I didn't really even think of as a bar. I thought of it as a restaurant, and you know,
it has kind of that atmosphere.
Yeah, but to hear that that happened, and the sad part is that they probably did not know.
Yeah, you never know with that. I mean, it's a sticky situation. It really is. I mean, because you know there's going to be underage people out there drinking. You just know there is going to be, and that you just have to do your best to, you know, try to avoid that. But it's, you can't avoid something that's so large and so
and then with the drunk people, then you have the disorderly conduct. You know, with the police dealing with that as well, because drunk people get a little bit rowdy.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of these statistics that we have on our show are from 4 p.m. to midnight. And you know, like we said, when we went out to the bar at 6 a.m. where people were already, you know, fairly intoxicated.
Yeah, some of them were just kind of like gone and just woo with everything. It was...
My favorite part of that whole package was the girl with the hat.
Oh my, yeah.
I saw her from across the bar and I snagged her and I asked her, you know, would you be willing to make your hat dance for me on camera?
Right, yeah.
I'm so glad you pulled up at like the last second during that, just so you could get the full hat.
Yeah, I almost didn't have the hat in that shot, and oh my, she was a hoot. Just so many people, and you brought a camera in that bar, and people were...
People got excited. They were probably like, oh, I get to be on TV.
Yeah. You know, and I like that day. I like St. Patrick's Day because it's something that can, you know, really unite people in a way. You know, it's a day to kind of relax. You know, it's in the middle of the week, at least it was this year. It was on a Monday last year, but people can take a day off to, you know, whatever extent, as long as they're not missing classes. That was the other thing. I know a lot of teachers either said you can have the day off, or no, we're having a quiz today on St. Patrick's Day.
A lot of my professors, they would, you know, they flat out told out, you know, last week that, hey, if you're going to be drinking in the morning, don't show up for class. Just don't do it, because there is rules and regulations against that. You can't show up to class drunk. It's not allowed, and you can get in trouble for that.
I can't believe people do that.
So, and people still do it. I mean, people still do it. I saw a few, but yeah, they made it very clear that if you just take the day off, you know, if you are going to participate in the morning activities.
Yeah, my morning class this morning, I mean, it was practically ghost town in there. And my professor, he was kind enough, he's like, okay, so I'm going to put up an extra credit quiz for attendance. These are all the answers, so yeah.
That's nice that it's extra credit, you know, so at least it's not damaging to your grade. But I can't say that if I were a professor that I wouldn't make a you know, a mandatory quiz, mandatory points.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I mean, me being, you know, the college student would think, you know, against that, but...
Yeah. Coming up, the panel and I will discuss a trivia game held here on campus. Stay with us. Joining us now on BG24 News Producers panel is reporter and anchor for us, Amy Steigerwald. Thanks for coming on with me tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Before going on spring break, BGSU students participated in a live trivia game. Students from different campus organizations formed teams and participated in Trivia Crack Live. The event was inspired by the popular app Trivia Crack. BGSU Tom sponsored Trivia Crack Live to give back to BGSU student organizations. 100% of the money raised was given back to the philanthropy of the winning team's choice. So, Amy, I know that in the past I think they've done something like Candyland, but this was different because this was app inspired, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So what you want to kind of run me through what it was like?
Yeah, walking in there I wasn't really sure what to expect because you know, we know it as the app, you know, when we press a button it tells us what we're doing.
Of course.
And we answer the question, and then if you get it wrong, it goes on. But when we walked in there, it was more kind of community based. There were more teams, and like when someone would get a right answer, they'd randomly throw in, oh, the team that cheers the loudest right now gets a prize.
Oh.
So that's how you could kind of gain more points if you get questions wrong, basically mainly because there was a lot of teams playing at once. It wasn't just like one versus the other, because they were trying to raise more money. So it was a very lively atmosphere.
That's good.
Yeah, and it was really fun to watch, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So throw in actual social aspects to what is considered social media.
Right. And there were just BGSU, the Tom's Club members were running around. It was almost hard to like get one of them to, to interview because they were all so busy, handing out prizes, running the game itself. And it was really nice because at first I thought they were trying to raise money for, for them, but it was actually because they were so thankful for all of the organizations that helped them on campus. So they basically sponsored this event. So a lot of, fraternities and sororities and other groups that tried fundraising went and participated in this, and the winning team got to choose where the money went. So if you were a sorority, it went to, your sorority's philanthropy, which was kind of cool.
Yeah,
it wasn't
that is
just
really.
It wasn't just for yourself. You were playing for someone else.
Yeah, it wasn't just, personal selfishness, and
Exactly.
it brought people together for a really good cause, that essentially benefited a lot of other people.
Right.
We're actually going to take a listen to now someone from the Tom's Club that ran this event, just a little bit about what it was about and how that money worked.
We have over 20 teams here that are noticed, and it's a good turnout, so hopefully we make a lot of money and we make a good cause and a change in the local Bowling Green community.
And, again, I can't stress enough, I love things on this campus that bring people together.
Yes.
And that bring people together for a great cause. Like last show we talked about ATO Cuts that did, they shaved their head for
someone else, right?
And that raised a lot of money.
Yeah, and I think it was kind of cool how they did that, incorporated the app, because Trivia Crack, it's not your typical app that a lot of students would have nowadays. Everyone's into Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. This is a game. it is a game. It's requiring you to think. It's requiring you to play someone back and face the consequences if you lose.
Well, I think it's a fun app. I have it. I use it a lot.
Yeah.
But those premium gaming that's popular. There are Clash of Clans and all that, all those different games they're free to play, but you got to be careful because that's how they get you. They want you to add that money and stuff. So it's nice to see that the campus was using it for something good, not so much just making a profit.
Not making you pay for another spin or anything.
Right, exactly.
I think it's great too that they brought something that they know, most people on this campus have smartphones.
Right.
So most people on this campus at least probably know what that app is. Whether they have it on their phone or not, I'm guilty, I have it on my phone. But, they at least maybe had it at one time or have played it on someone else's smartphone, which then to take it and say, oh, we're doing a live Trivia Crack, that's going to catch people's attention because they're going to say, oh, I know what that is. I've played that. I've heard about that.
And now that you mentioned cell phones, actually one of the rules they had at the game was they had a huge sign, no cell phones. So no one was allowed to look up any of the answers or anything like that. They had to put them away, and if they were caught using a cell phone, they had to forfeit their game. So you couldn't be glued to your smartphone, Googling the answers. You had to think and use teamwork, which is not often required.
You see that in a lot of your trivia games, because trivia night at a certain bar, which I'm a fan of going to because I think trivia is fun. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. No phones, but people always use every now and then you get that person who you can tell is definitely using their phone cheap.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that people would essentially use their phones that made them knowledgeable about this app, would use it for evil.
And if you think about it, if you are a fast typer, you can easily exit out of Trivia Crack, look up the answer really fast, and go back and get it right. Can't do that in this live game where people are watching you, and there's other teams around, and your money is at stake, basically.
I do not have nimble thumbs. I cannot Google it.
I can't do that either. It'd take me way too long to look up something. I would get caught.
No.
I'm guilty every now and then.
Coming up, we'll discuss our thoughts on Hillary Clinton's email scandal. Stay with us. Former Secretary of State and possible presidential candidate Hillary Clinton has been receiving a lot of heat because of her email address. The former First Lady was using her personal email for all of her emails, including professional ones. Man, at first, I thought, well, that's fine. She was being efficient. But the government didn't like that.
There are rules set against that. I'm not showing the specific of them, but basically, yeah, you can't use your personal email for professional things, especially in government, because there's also ways that you can like hide the subject of your email in personal ones. And now that was one of the big things about this one, so people didn't know, what is she emailing these people about? We don't know. And her response with it, I guess, not a lot of people were fans of either, because she didn't see what the problem was. Yeah. Where many other people said, this is technically kind of illegal, and especially for someone, you know, former First Lady, former Secretary of State.
Yes.
Very possibly could be a presidential candidate. That's something to be paying attention to.
Yeah, it's something that, I mean, I've met a few government employees in my life, and I remember talking to them about the whole cell phone thing. It's, you don't want your personal life in your work phone. Hillary's main excuse was, oh, you know, it was just easier to have it all on one phone. No, you should have two phones, because really, it's like the government's kind of breathing down your neck. And she was like, oh, well, you know, I was dealing with foreign policy stuff and planning for my daughter's wedding at the same time, so the emails were getting jumbled up. You know, check one in one hand, one in the other. It's just, she really doesn't have much of an excuse and a firm ground to stand on, but for the idea of the ease of everything, it kind of makes sense at first if it was like anything but the government. Like, the position that she's in just doesn't work for merging the two together.
I will say, in Hillary Clinton's defense, it is better, I think, this way around than for her to be doing personal things on a government, you know, because the government pays for that. You know, the government is supplied her with that.
Right.
Can't take that away from her. You know, my mom is a government employee and, you know, works heavily in the State House, and she had a friend that ended up losing her job, and she used her work computer for personal things. And then when she lost her job, they took that computer. So she did not have any personal things left, you know, for her own use.
Yeah. And what I find really interesting about this is it's getting covered intensely. It is, because, you know, as someone as known as Hillary Clinton and media today being larger and larger, it's being so focused on. So it makes me wonder how it could possibly impact her, you know, running for president. Maybe not so much, it might be swept under the rug eventually, but right now that seems to be the focus.
Because there was no actual security breach, there was no, you know, super top secret information that was leaked, I do think that she can still be a presidential candidate.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that this is going to wipe her off the map by any means, but it will be something that people will consider, because that's going to come back to bite her in the butt, and people are going to say, well, she's lazy. She wants to do everything efficiently. I
think it's just a little smudge on her record. Like, I mean, what you said about your mom's friend and whatnot, I've actually had a similar situation with that. Like, I've known someone like that, and I mean, that for someone kind of like on the lower level of the government, like just as a regular worker, that's really bad. But I mean, when you're one of the high up politicians, it's just brush it off.
Yeah.
It's just kind of House of Cards like show. Just, you know, do all these bad things, and, you know, oh well, nothing really was bad came out of it, so it's fine. Just don't do it again. Here, have a second iPhone.
I'm sure she's going to have to come up with several different answers for this, because as it goes on, you have debates and whatnot and constant interviews, and she's going to have to repeat this story over and over again.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is that, you know, Bill Clinton really had a way of standing in the spotlight and when he was in the hot seat, and had a way of sweet-talking people. And, you know, he could, talk his way around things. And Hillary Clinton does not quite have that approach to public speaking. And I think people are very turned off by that. Yeah. You know, and so that makes it almost into a bigger deal than it would be normally.
Well, then there's also 20-year difference between that. I mean, when Bill Clinton was in office and he had the sweet-talking thing, I mean, that was TV, and internet was just in its infancy then.
That's also true.
And now everything is multiplied intensely.
Yeah, it's just, you know, live updates everywhere, you know, tweeting, Facebooking, everything possible, every second they could be covering your life, versus you may have had a breather 20 years ago then.
Well, the internet really has been something, we're learning about this in my political science class actually, that has impacted who wants to run for any kind of, government position.
Any kind of office, yeah.
Because they don't want to be subject to all of that criticism, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, and people who want to run for office have to be very, very careful because, I mean, one video of you doing something stupid gets leaked, that could ruin your career.
Absolutely.
So, and it's everything is like shared now, so they gotta be very careful, much more than they were, 20 years ago.
Yeah. Well, coming up when we return, we'll wrap up the show for you and talk about some March Madness predictions. Stay with us. Well, March Madness is right around the corner. I know by tomorrow at noon, you have to have your bracket made if you want to bet on anything. I missed this deadline last year, and I'm not a huge basketball person. I don't pay attention to the NCAA until March. Yeah, which is not ideal. I'm big into hockey, and we were just talking about the other day, me and a friend, if they had anything like March Madness for hockey.
Yeah.
But
it's just not as big of a tournament, though. There's this 64-team tournament, and that's what everyone's excited for, is filling out their bracket. And even if you're not into basketball, people want to do that just to, get the attention and say, hey, my prediction was right, yours was wrong.
Yeah. So what's your prediction, Matt? What are you saying?
Well, I'm going to go with what everyone is saying. Kentucky's going to win it all. I mean, my Final Four is Kentucky, Iowa State, Virginia, and Arizona. And I think it'll be Kentucky and Iowa State in the finals, and Kentucky will win.
I don't like when people make more than one bracket. I know that is a fairly routine thing. I don't like that. I think that's cheating.
Yeah.
And then as you know, I'm from right around the corner from the shoe. I'm from the heart of Columbus, but I'm not putting any money on my Buckeyes.
Oh, I wouldn't either. I mean, I'm a Cincinnati fan basketball, and they would have to play, if they do win their first round against Purdue, they'd have to play Kentucky. There's no way they're going to beat Kentucky, so I gave up hope right away.
See, I mean, for saying who I want to win, you're telling me off camera, say Virginia. He's telling me to say Kentucky. No, wait, I had that the wrong way around. But I don't follow that. I just kind of sit back, watch it, and then my roommates, if they're watching, they're like, oh, what are you doing? You don't know sports. Why are you talking about this? They're going to be like, oh, yeah, the Final Four. And I'm just going to look in and I'll be like, oh, okay. And then just, go back to what I'm doing.
I think people get pleasure out of just the competitiveness of the whole thing, And just like you said, like if by chance they end up, calling who wins it all.
Right.
That's severe bragging rights for them.
Yeah, and not just, because obviously there's so many different brackets you can fill out, and I was listening to a program on ESPN, like, to get a perfect bracket is theoretically, like, impossible. It's like I don't even know, it's above billion, trillion, like, it's like a weird number. I can't even pronounce it.
You could win the Mega Millions before you get your perfect bracket.
Oh, yeah, it is very hard.
Yeah. Well, that's it for BG24 News Producers Panel tonight. We certainly covered a lot today. We talked about everything that happened in this town on St. Patrick's Day, and then, how that Tom's Club on campus, which I honestly really didn't know a whole lot about, and they really put on a great event.
They did.
And, put a lot of proceeds towards charity, which is amazing to see, and then definitely saved the most controversial, and in my opinion, the best for last, this Hillary Clinton scandal, which I don't believe is going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
Make sure you check out these stories and more on our website and our Facebook page. And feel free to tweet at us what you think about these stories and the other issues. Have a good night, everyone.